Hello everyone, here is Groskamp here from Team INF1NITY, and today in this video I want to talk about the INF1NITY IF18, and I want to talk about the front end, the front upper arm, and this time I want to show you how I tune the front upper arm. As you know, this season I'm gonna run a lot of 1/8, and the IF18 is still quite new for me. I have of course the other years focused more on the 110, but this year I focus on 1/8. And during my first runs with the 1/8 scale again, I found some nice improvements, some tips that I want to share with you. And one of those tips is again the front upper arm. The trend, what you see now, also the setups of the Italian guys, they already had their first race of the year, the Nationals, and as you can see, most of the guys are running a very narrow front width, especially also the rear, 260, 250 or even 249. So that's quite different than the previous years. You can see now the trend is getting more narrow front end to get more and more steering and just more aggressive car feeling. But however, if you make the front more narrow, the suspension can be very tight with the steering block. So the upper arm basically can touch the steering block when you make it too narrow, because you have to maintain your camber. So hereby I want to show you what I do now on the front upper arm. I basically cut 1 millimeter of the arm, and also I'm gonna make it a little bit more smooth and round to avoid that the steering block touch the upper arm while moving or when it's dampening, so you can maintain the full lock. And here I show you how I do that. So now, as you can see, this is the front suspension, and the gap between the arm and the steering block is very little bit, but that's only because I want to maintain the camber. And when you steer, it's clear that the steering block touches the arm, and therefore you don't have enough steering lock. And now we're gonna modify the upper arm. The upper arm now is about 46.75, and I want to cut about 1 millimeter. As you can see now, after I cut, the arm is a little bit more than 1 millimeter shorter, and now I'm gonna also make it a little bit more smooth and round. Especially on the bottom side, gonna make it more round. Now I modify the arm. As you can see, it's more round, and especially on the bottom I cut here, because this is the area which comes very close to the steering block. Let's see now how it fits in the car. The length of the pivot ball don't has to be shortened unless you want to run a lot of camber, like 3 degrees. I also advise you to cut slightly from the pivot ball, maybe 1 millimeter. Now I've replaced the arm to a shorter upper arm, and as you can see, there is more gap between the arm and the steering block, and now it can move freely, and yeah, you can run maximum steering lock without the steering block touching the upper arm. So yeah, it's all fixed now. Okay, thank you again for watching my video. I hope this was helpful for you, and see you next time.